Hello, everyone. I'm John Boitnott, and you have arrived at From the Ground Up. We are a Grit Daily supported podcast, and we talk to entrepreneurs all over the world about the companies that they're running and what they're doing to change the world and change business. And today I'm joined by Kevin Rusher of RAAC. Good to see you, or good to not see you, Kevin. How are you?
Hey, John. Good, thanks. Thanks for having me on. Super excited to be here.
All right, Kevin, you are a semi-anonymous, executive over at RAAC, founder at RAAC. Can you tell us about RAAC and yourself and your background?
Yeah, for sure. I'll start with myself. Traditionally, my background is in finance and accounting, and I was going through school, and I had to take a 30-year fintech course, and you had to write about a variety of technologies, and you could go through a list. So at the top of the list, A was AI, and it had said that by 2030 or in the 2030s, around 30% of corporate audits would be replaced by AI. And I was like, oh, that doesn't sound good for myself. So I made it very far down the list to B and saw Bitcoin, and that really piqued my interest. So wrote a paper about Bitcoin, and that's where I got orange pilled. And I was like, this is fantastic. And I was like, this is the future. So I kind of started positioning myself to be a crypto accountant. Kind of got into it. DeFi summer popped off. And if you're not familiar with that, it was kind of the birth of, not birth, but the surgence of decentralized finance when it really took kind of the crypto scene by storm, and kind of was like, this is where I belong, and never looked
Mm.
back.
What is orange pill, by the way? I've heard that before, and explain that.
Yeah, it's like like the Matrix scene when Morpheus is like, you have the red pill or the blue pill. So in this case, because Bitcoin is orange, you get orange pilled.
Oh, got it. Yeah, no, I've also heard another one called black pill, which is sort of an apocalyptic mindset a little bit. So some people out there, not that I have an apocalyptic mindset, but I have, you check out Reddit and you hear different conversations, and someone was talking about how, some people get a little bit negative on where the world is headed, and so there'll be the comment that they've been black pilled. But,
No,
but
for sure.
anyway, yeah, tell us about RAAC, RAAC. Tell us about that, how it fits in with your past and where you're headed.
Yeah, so RAC or Regnomorum Acquisition Corp, which stands for the Kingdom of Gold, is a crypto protocol, but more specifically a decentralized finance protocol that is focused on real world assets.
Ah, okay. What are some examples of real world assets?
Yeah, it's a really good question because there's so many of them. So it's pretty expansive. So you could talk about U.S. treasuries, real estate,
Mm.
gold, oil, car titles, right? IP. You can really dive into anything from the real world that has value, essentially.
All right. So with RAAC, what are some of the problems that you're solving in the W3 or the Web3 space related to this?
So I'm sure if maybe not everyone's been paying attention, but I'm sure they've seen the most recent blow up in some case where you see a lot of focus on meme coins, and where there's a lot of speculation and no value being driven.
Mm.
What RAC focuses on is bringing stability to cryptocurrency users, and offering things such as portfolio diversification and things like that, because that doesn't really exist on chain
Mm.
um, in a way that the traditional investor could create a structured portfolio.
You're talking about these assets that may or may not sort of have intrinsic or inherent value to them. Maybe give us an example of that, how one of those assets actually doesn't really have value in the end intrinsically, just
Yeah,
so people can get an idea of that. Yeah.
the cleanest, most clear playbook we've seen over and over again is, say I'm a celebrity or a high profile person. I say I'm launching Kevin Coin, And because I have this massive following and people love me and they trust me, uh, they believe I'm actually going to drive value to this. But it's just my name that's backing it. So we build up the hype. Um, People buy in because they're excited about the project. But I keep 80% of the supply myself and only sell 20, and we let it run. And then I get to cash out my 80% and everyone gets left holding the bag. And you'll see this run over and over, and it's only grown in proportion as the years have gone on.
It's amazing that this still continues to go on. Am I correct?
Yeah, yeah, it's a little heartbreaking for myself personally, but it's kind of one of the things with the space where um, I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with the term. It's called survivorship bias. So
Mm,
you'll see the one person out of 10,000 make it, and you hang on to it rather than focusing on the 9,999 that crashed and burned.
mm.
So that's where the retail mind generally tends to go rather than focusing on the more sophisticated financial products that decentralized finance offers, like RAAC.
Yeah, yeah. I would also imagine that those types of schemes give the more stable products a bad name, right? Um, have you found that to be the case?
Yeah, yeah, very, very much so. It's that's what grabs the mind share of the overall space. I mean, it's in my opinion, my very humble opinion, much easier to sell doom and gloom than it is to sell really great news and all the wonderful things that are going on behind the scenes.
Yeah,
So definitely takes away from the rest of the space.
and it's hard for the people who don't have enough knowledge to really cut the wheat from the chaff, and go after the good stuff and know the difference, right?
Very, very much so. There definitely is an extremely high learning curve to DeFi and decentralized finance, and these are where these high profile people are able to take advantage of people who say, "Oh, well, I don't know what's going on, but so and so is saying it, so it should be good," you know?
It's great that you're moving in a totally other direction than that. So, as far as tokenizing real estate, one of these real things that's out there. Many projects claim to tokenize it, but many of them follow a fractionalized model. Now, explain RAAC's one-to-one backed NFT approach. Tell us why that's different. Sort of dive into explain the how that works.
Yeah, for sure. So that kind of ties back into the questions about what we solve in the Web3 space. So, being a very, very decentralized finance native, we've really designed RAAC differently from how other people are approaching this. So, what I find is that people are building products for what they wish the space could be and not what it is. And what that means is people who are usually bringing real world assets because these are regulated products that they're kind of walled off from the rest of DeFi, meaning that the standard DeFi user cannot access these assets due to due to regulatory restrictions on identification and things like that. So RAAC focuses on a design that allows us to seamlessly and frictionlessly integrate with existing DeFi ecosystems. So that's why we focus on the one to one and not the fractionalized, due to reducing the regulatory hurdles, but making it us more accessible to the open market.
Got it. Now, how would a product, if I'm working with RAAC, how would it work? Would I buy a product, from you guys through you guys? How does that go exactly?
Yeah, I can just kind of walk you through the flow of how it would work for a user. So, what would occur is the user would come to our website. They would select a NFT that represents a real world property that would be
Mm,
based in the US. So, they would pay for the property, they receive the NFT. The NFT acts as their receipt. So, they can go take this somewhere else in DeFi, back to RAAC, deposit it, and take a loan against it. So if you bought like a $200,000 property, you could put it back on rack, and we allow you to basically take almost like a home equity line of credit
Oh,
against it. But we use decentralized finance mechanisms to synthetically control our interest rates. So we are actually soft pegged to half of the US prime rate.
really?
Yeah. So what we're doing, and even outside of meme coins, if you look at like Ethereum or Bitcoin, they're also very volatile assets. There's nothing really in crypto as of now that you can kind of set and forget and walk away. You always need to be monitoring your loans. So what this offers is a way to access stability on chain.
Mm.
So the user would take that loan. They could either sell it for fiat and go do something off chain. They could buy another property in real life. They could pay down debt, whatever they want. Or you can take that loan and you could keep it within RAAC and use our strategies to generate yield.
Okay, I would love to see some use case scenarios online, some case studies, that kind of thing, to see what people's experiences have been like. Um, but is can they do that yet on the site or any?
Not yet. We're actually moving into our test net in the next week or two.
Oh, great,
We will be then launching like a closed beta, and then you'll see people taking loans against these properties live and on
awesome.
chain.
Fascinating. Okay. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing how this works. But so I want to ask a question about something like, do you see 2025 as being the year that there will be more adoption of tokenized real estate, or are we looking at something that's a little bit more, in the coming years, like 5 to 10 years out? So I suppose it's like, do you see more adoption coming, and what does the next 5, 10 years look like?
Yeah, yeah. I would say it's already been happening. If you look at things like maybe not specifically with real estate, but if you look at BlackRock, right,
Ah,
the world's largest asset manager, they've deployed to Ethereum. They've brought securities on chain funds, and they're minting stable coins backed by these assets. So there's definitely an appetite. I mean, if the world's largest institution is deploying, then you can assume others are going to follow. And what's really interesting about that is you kind of have this duality I talked about, is where you have these new RWA protocols coming on chain that are completely walled off from the rest of crypto, or you have what BlackRock's kind of done, and they've created stable coins, and those exist and integrate into the existing DeFi ecosystem, specifically Curve Finance. That's a big one. They're using the existing structures rather than trying to come and create their own. So I definitely think the appetite's there. You're going to see a ton of different assets coming on chain. It's primarily dominated by U.S. treasuries because that's what backs like um, USDT, which is Tether, or USDC, which is Circle stablecoin. So I definitely think it's happening. But this massive, massive adoption, I think you're right. Three to 5 years, but we're seeing billions and billions being onboarded month to month.
do you envision a day, maybe not too many years from now, where regular folks are going to have a greater understanding of these products and how they can purchase them and or get involved with them, invest in them, leverage them for other things? What's the sort of the time horizon for that?
Time horizon for that one's definitely, I think we have a lot of work on our end to do as an industry. I mean, as I mentioned, the learning curve is so high to load up a Rabby or a MetaMask and go interact with the DeFi protocol.
Yeah.
There's something called account abstraction, where it actually removes the know-how. So it's going to be as simple as using an app on, or like using your banking app on your phone. We will get there, um, but I think that that's longer than the adoption of RWAs by institutions.
Yeah.
I think it'll be institutions, and then when institutions are fully onboarded, they'll just be feeding it to their clients on the back end. They won't even know they're using crypto, to be honest.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Is my guess.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting to say the least. Now, okay, so if you could give us one piece of advice, give the listeners one piece of advice, what would it be as we move into the next phase of decentralized finance? And also, what is the next phase of decentralized finance? What phase were we in, and what phase are we going to?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think just because of like how fast crypto iterates, we're kind of like almost like speed running the history of finance in our own space. So if you look back to last cycle, or the start of like kind of DeFi summer, it was a lot of food coins,
Mm.
and they would be paying out interest rates that were super unsustainable. I'm talking like thousands of percent interest, and then they always blew up. So we learned as an industry, wow, we can't just have these unsustainable rewards. We need to drive um, real income. So then it became about which are revenue producing protocols, and now it's more so. I feel like which are able to produce revenue and outlast these kind of cyclical cycles of crypto where prices go up and down. Because when prices go down, the activity dies,
Mm.
right? Just naturally. But we're seeing this transition of where these assets are coming in, and where you're bringing external yield and external assets that are kind of non-correlated to these markets. You're going to see the ecosystems thriving. So I think we're starting to move out of that boom and bust every 4 year cycles with blockchain and crypto, as we onboard more legitimate assets and grow as an industry.
Ah, got it. Yeah, so that's sort of where the new sort of era of DeFi is coming in, with something that's a little bit more stable and a little less cyclical that way.
Correct.
And so, given that, what is some advice for the listeners on how they should, you know, approach?
Yeah, I would say the best way to get involved and learn and understand this stuff is by doing.
Mm,
We can talk about it all we want. You can read about it all you want, but you'll never ever fully understand until you are interacting with these things and you make the mistakes. I'm not saying go in and throw your life savings at it. You can do this with $100. You can do
yeah,
this with $50, 10. It's really about just interacting with them. And as I mentioned, there's so much more to this space than meme coins or kind of value extraction mechanisms. The space is filled with wonderful projects built by really amazing people trying to push it forward. Um, so even if DeFi isn't your kind of focus, there's tons of other things. There's decentralized AI. There's decentralized science. There's art, right? So there's really something for everyone within this space. But I would really encourage people to look past the news headlines and focus on what's actually being built.
that's a great reminder. All right, so as far as RAAC goes, what's next for RAAC, and what can we get excited about in the? Sounds like there's some good projects coming up all around, not just for RAAC, but yeah, as far as RAAC goes, what's coming up for RAAC in the next several months here?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we're doing the test net. We'll be going into a closed beta, and full launch will be in April. And we kind of talked about other commodities and things like that. So we're actually looking to onboard a significant amount of gold. And what we're hoping, not hoping, but what we're looking to do is use that as a template and be able to bring on other asset classes very rapidly, whether that be oil, water, energy.
Mm.
So we're really going for it. So it'll be exciting. Right now we have over $3 billion in MOUs to utilize the platform. We're expecting 235 million in pre-deposits at the end of, or sorry, in deposits at the end of April. So some big things on the move.
That's great. Good to hear it. So, what would you wish that you had mentioned? You haven't had a chance to mention yet. Anything?
Yeah, I would say would love the support of the listeners. Follow us at Ragnamorum on X. We'll be opening up our Discord soon. Get involved with our Galaxy campaign, and yeah, we really love interacting with our community members. So yeah, would love to have new members join us, and super open to helping people and kind of showing them where to look and how to grow in the space.
Ragnamorum on X. How do you spell that?
REGNUMAURUM.
Yeah, so that's
MUM. RUM.
RUM. Got it. Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And that's how they can follow you. It's been great to have you on From the Ground Up. Thanks again, Kevin Rusher.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to be here, and I just want to say thank you to all the listeners. Always such a treat when people let me yap. So thank you so much, guys.
Definitely, the thing about conversations related to crypto is every time I have one, I'm learning multiple new things. It's not just learning one new thing every day; it's learning a dozen new things every day. So,
No,
uh,
100%. I would love to go down the rabbit hole with you further another time.
look, let's do that again. So, all right, thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, awesome. Bye.